very good stories of how they started from scratch and built their empires to profitability. And that's the reason why Bizna Kenya and MC Moments have partnered to bring you Biz Talks. Biz Talks. And here we shall be hosting mentors, people who have gone ahead of us, people who have created these empires, people who have also on the verge of creating these particular big businesses. And these lessons will be valuable for you, the business person, for you, the aspiring business person, the entrepreneur, so that at least you can make wise decisions when it comes to building that business. So every Friday at 8 a.m. on all business platforms, that's the Facebook. So good morning, business people, or wherever you are watching us from. Welcome to Biz Talks. This is a very interesting month, courtesy of our beloved women, because we are looking forward to celebrate the International Women's Day. And you know, their theme is Choose to Challenge. And our guest today is a woman, definitely, who has as well chosen to challenge, of course, the status quo. You know, with the advent of IT, with the advent of technology, there are, of course, challenges that come with them. And so she's going to tell us and really help us understand how to navigate through these murky waters, which she has stand as well as a business opportunity. Now that's interesting because, as I alerted you on the posters, her business is to ensure that you have peace of mind in the digital era. Such an amazing way, is it? Of course, salutations to all the women. We love you here. And of course, Biz Talks this month will be featuring just women who are doing great in business. Very warm welcome, Evelyn. Karibu sana to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Since I'm seeing you for the first time, Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year.
It's never too late,
Happy
right?
New Year, right?
And if I don't see you again, happy birthday.
I know, right?
Yes.
So as usual here, because it's a tea conversation, I want to serve you some tea, courtesy of Melvin's Tea. And by the way, a shout out to Melvin's Tea because they give us amazing packages of their tea. So they have a variety, by the way, from green tea, black tea, purple tea, a lot of them, we'll be sharing more. I don't know whether there's one here that interests you. Actually, place them on the table so you can choose one from there. There's a green tea.
I love the packaging.
Yeah?
It just calls my name. just telling me, buy me, please.
Yes. Would you like it with some milk or just plain water?
Plain water will do.
Plain water, okay.
Yes.
So, have you been?
I've been well. Yeah. I have been good. Particularly this week, really happy because my babies have finally gone to school.
Oh.
So I'm having what I would say me time. So this is me time.
You're not alone. One of my guests here as well was saying how it's been a hectic time because the kids are quite demanding in a way.
Yes.
I don't know whether you have been faring on well with them at all.
I think because I had it in mind that come March they'll go to school.
Yeah.
Towards the end of February, I was really getting tired, but relieved that they're going back to school.
Everybody
But
is.
that doesn't make me a bad mother. I think it's the fact that you want to have some peace. It's not been easy. It's been almost a year of being with them at home.
You're right. Okay, I understand. You're not alone in that. As I said, there are many people who are saying, goodness Lord, how do we navigate this with the kids and all?
Yeah.
But we are glad that they're back. And what it's quite still interesting is the fact that we've not had those scary stories coming from schools, especially with COVID.
Yes, thank God, right?
I know.
Yeah.
I still say kids are special and God is special to the kids as well.
I think he made this pandemic in such a way that it will protect the babies, which I think for me is the blessing. Because you and I can, as much as possible, try and protect ourselves.
Yeah.
We will try and adhere to, the protocols of wearing masks. They struggle. Yeah. And I think it's good that they're not really being affected by it.
True that. Yeah. And schools employ a lot of people and they're a business sort of like a move of the economy by themselves. There are planes passing here, so if the noise to our viewers, sorry about that. But I'm seeing that schools are a big part of us, the economy as well, and they employ a lot of people. So them going back is really good news for us. It
is. They missed, I believe they missed the socialization.
Absolutely.
And cabin fever caught them towards the end of last year. I hope you noticed part of it. People just started doing crazy stuff because it was getting to them that they need to get out there.
Yeah.
They need to expel their energy in the field, and that was not possible.
Wow.
And they wouldn't understand it because we want to protect them, but we are not giving them the kind of freedom that they need to be children. So
Certainly, and we'll be talking about that more, especially in this IT digital time where there's lots of stories that came out during this season. I don't even want to mention some of the pregnancies we had to report, the highest we've ever reported for teenagers.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm sure our viewers are very curious. They want to know who is Evelyn Kasina and what's this all about, peace of mind in the digital era. But for now, let's get to know who Evelyn Kasina is. And please, I want you not to mince the introduction. Say it as it is.
Say it as it is. Yeah. So I'm someone's wife, a doctor's wife. I'm a mother of 2, but I have very many babies. I keep saying the children who come through my programs are all my babies. Yeah. So I'm a mother of I don't know how many babies. And I'm a founder and a CEO, but I want to drop the CEO now, just to remain a founder of EveMinet. And EveMinet is it's basically an IT firm that offers that peace of mind, right? Okay. So through our different programs, we just seek to first change mindsets, because once you change your mindset, that's when you want to be intentional about the peace that you really, really need. Yeah. So we've just been working with parents, guardians, educators, but our core clients are children from age 6 to 7. Okay. So that is who Evelyn is, just a person who wants people to be, to breathe. I want parents to go to bed without scratching their heads and without, getting sound sleep. Yeah. Be stressed about every other thing, but not tech and children. Yeah. That's interesting. Yes. So, the name EveMinet. Would you care to tell us? It looks like there's some work that went to it to come up with it. So definitely there's a story behind it. Interestingly enough, I'm a lastborn, and lastborns are selfish by nature. So Eve is from my first name, and then Minet is almost like Italian of technology. So I just merged that together. Then I put communication solutions. So. Yeah, that's it. And then if you look at my logo, you'll see a lady holding the globe. Yeah. So that's me. Okay. I just want to provide peace to everybody in the whole world. Wow. Every parent, everybody who is in the ecosystem of a child. Okay. So going global. Right? Really, I am global, but yeah. Yeah, we'll be talking about that journey. In fact, which is actually my next question. I'm sure you didn't just start EveMinet just the other day. Of course, it has come through a journey. Yes. But before then, I want to go a little bit back. Why you started this? There must have been a reason first. And I want to know, especially from the point of the frustration that you had to face for you to come to face this. So I'm going to teach you one word, and I hope you will be using it from today. Okay. It's called Kensho. Kensho? Kensho. 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 So having a Kensho moment is learning through pain. You change through going through a painful moment, right? Okay. So most businesses obviously are grown through Kensho moments. You feel so frustrated about something and you're like, I need to do something about that. But initially, I was doing security for corporates. And then I realized this market is really flooded. I mean, everybody who's done cybersecurity is out there providing some solution for the corporate world. Were you trained first as a cybersecurity? Yes, I did computer science, and then I started specializing in cybersecurity. Okay. Yes, but I dropped it once I started having babies. Okay. Yes. So what happened is, in the space of me creating solutions for corporates. Yeah. Initially, you remember when the internet came, and especially with Facebook, when people didn't realize that Facebook can be used for business, we were all using it for socialization. I mean, I've not seen you since we were in high school or primary, and we can connect in this space, and there was Candy Crush. You remember Candy Crush? Yeah, absolutely. And people would just waste a whole day, doing everything else but, working. And corporates would call and say, we want you to maybe give us categories for us, sections where workers can use internet, but they can productively be at work, then give them internet maybe during their off breaks. And it was in that moment where the employer wants that kind of solution, but when you go into the network, you realize, hey, people here, it's not just social media alone. There are so many other things. And I remember my trigger point one time was a client who told me, but Evelyn, you don't want us to watch porn in the office, but I have mobile data. I can go to a cafe or something, So, I mean, I really don't need my boss's internet for me to indulge in what I need to indulge in. There was always a way to maneuver. But that same person is a parent who would never want their child to find them watching unhealthy content, right? Very interesting. Yes. Yeah, that's true. So, at home, that person will be themselves or have this facade, this look of I am this responsible, quote unquote, person.
Yeah.
But behind the scene, the things they're watching, crazy. But you also don't want to be the parent who finds your children watching unhealthy content, whether you watch it or not, right?
True.
Yeah. So those were my moments. Those were my moments. But my trigger to moving from corporate to just specializing in the family unit was my son watching, there's a time he was on my iPad watching Tom and Jerry, and then these pop-ups kept coming. So as an IT person, I know how to clear the pop-ups, I know how to filter the kind of content that comes. But then I wondered, when he goes out of this house and he's out of my jurisdiction, and he goes and meets Maina, and Maina's child is watching unfiltered internet, what happens?
Yeah,
so that's
true.
when
you can't really control, especially in these estates where you will hear kids have gone to the other neighbors, they come and reporting crazy stuff.
So that was my changing. So my son is the one who triggered me to, like, why can't I focus in the family? Because that parent I want to change from watching this unhealthy content, their child will be the force of change. So that's how I shifted from corporate to just working with.
So would I be right to say this, your career, if I may call it that, or your business, emerged from a need that you saw? It was a problem that you needed to solve for your children and yourself. By the way, let me tell the viewers that, you know, Eve is an amazing mother of 2, right?
Yes.
And she says she doesn't need the house help.
No.
In this era.
No. Technology will help you do everything.
Okay.
No?
Okay, I'm sure many people would want to ask, how do you handle all this and still manage your businesses and all?
Yes.
That's a conversation for another day.
Yes, please.
Okay, so transition from employment to now starting this. And you said, of course, your kids triggered you to say, you know what, enough is enough. So how was the transition first?
First and foremost, let me say I started working when I was 19.
Okay, that's quite early.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in government.
How?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think by the time I was 21, I was so frustrated because the process that we have in government, bureaucracy, the process itself is very slow for someone who is very fast.
Yeah.
So I would go, do several things, do a small course, update my CV. But when I'm being appraised, I'm told, "Oh, young girl, you have not done 5 years of work, so you cannot be promoted." Things like that. And those were my frustration points, and I was like, so I have to wait for 5 years with all these papers, with all these things, and then by the time even you're feeling that you need to implement a certain technology, it has been bypassed by time.
Yeah, that's
so I had to quit. I remember how I did it was very funny because I quit, I went to HR, I got my letters, and then is when I came and told my husband, "Oh, by the way, I'm no longer working, here's my letter from HR." When he saw it, he was like, "But this has already been approved and everything." I was like, yeah. I knew if I told him while I was doing it, he would want to change my mind.
Yeah, he would have tried to tell you.
Yes, he would have. And then he told me, "So what do you want to do?" I'm like, so I have a 4-bedroom apartment. Then I was using 3. So I created an office in one of the bedrooms. Wow. So I just bought a laptop, a small printer, which I have to date, a small desk, and I told him this is where we'll be operating from. Yeah. If I need to go see a client, I'll go see a client out there. Yeah. So that's how I worked from my house for a whole year. So when I was just transitioning from this, it was one of those, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was like, employment is just not for me. And I think if I was to be employed, maybe I'd be sacked because I can't stick to that routine. I have a crazy
You're not alone.
routine.
There are many others as well sometimes who get
But also the feeling of I need to change things now. And because technology also doesn't wait. You can imagine if today you don't update your phone software, tomorrow some app will not be working.
That's true.
You just have to do it now.
Yeah, you have to constantly.
Yeah, bureaucracy or not, you just have to do it now. So those are the things that really, really triggered and pushed. And I'm glad I did it because looking back, I'm glad I did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many years now since you did
2012. I started in 2012.
Yeah, that's close to 10 now.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yes.
Wow. Good. I'm sure our viewers can't wait to hear now. What does Eve Minette do? But am I pronouncing it well?
Yes.
Okay.
Eve Minette, yes.
I'm learning so many things, including Concha. So, no. Is it
Kensho?
Kensho. Oops.
Kensho. It's when you're feeling frustrated about something.
Is it Japanese or what is it?
It is, I think, Indian or Japanese, I think.
Okay, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about Eve Minette and what you do.
What we do. Okay. So we have an array of products, and one of our main signature products is WizKids Africa Digital Literacy and Online Safety. So that is what we
Okay.
We do, literally.
Yeah.
Because as I said before, the child is my client,
Yes.
right? And through the digital literacy and online program, as we were training children, we realized that we give this child so many tools, so many techniques to be a digital citizen, but we send them to an environment where a parent has got no clue how to sort this child.
Absolutely.
We take that child to a school where the school has got no clue how to sort this child. In the church, people are putting Wi-Fi and it's free, and we give our children these gadgets.
Yes.
Also, that space is not really, the people there do not have a clue how to deal with these digital citizens, because we are not. Me and you are residents. Eh?
Yes.
Me and you are residents.
Yeah.
Our parents are digital visitors. Then after our parents, those are...
They didn't know anything.
No, our parents are immigrants, then they're visitors. So those ones over 60 are visitors.
Okay.
So you can imagine, when I tell a child that before, for instance, one of the things that we really love to tell them is, before you consume any content, pre-screen it for several reasons. Check if it is for your age, if it's appropriate.
Yeah.
Check for language, because there are certain sites that we use that even tell the children if they curse language and stuff like that. Check these things for, sexual content, violence, and stuff like that. So that at least when you're indulging in something, this is good for me, this is bad for me.
Yeah.
You make that conscious decision, because you want your child to be independent. When you're not with them, they're making good decisions for themselves.
Yes.
But then we send this child home, and then this parent is like, you said there's a tech-free zone. My child is telling me I cannot go to the toilet with my phone because Evelyn said this is a tech-free zone. So I quickly realized that I have then to create a program that complements this, especially for the parents, those people who are within the ecosystem of the child.
Yeah.
So as I'm taking this child, teaching this child, because you're smack in the middle of the digital era, you are a digital citizen, I need to be able to prepare you to be somebody diligent, responsible, but also make sure that your parent is creating a conducive environment. So when I created the Parents Unplugged program, it is to complement this kids program. Because you as a parent, you need to be able to know, how can I ensure that my home is secure? How can I ensure the people who have access to my child understand our values and why we believe in these values? Because it's all about values.
Okay.
How can we also make sure that we ask the schools the right questions? When my child is going, for instance, to the lab, is it secure? What is there supervision? What happens if there's a pop-up of pornography, or my kids are playing games that are radicalization games in nature? How do I then, as a parent, become more proactive in asking questions without me feeling like I have to put out fire? Because the society as we have right now is of very reactive people. I call ourselves parents with fire extinguishers on our back. We see fire, and then once the fire is out, we hardly go deep to find out where, because I mean, there was a smoke, maybe you saw it, you were just like, and then it became a full-blown fire. We don't go deep to find out, okay, so what triggered this? But the fire is out, it's out. We are waiting for the next fire. So the reason why I tell people I'm giving you peace of mind is to make you stop being reactive and start being proactive.
Absolutely. To see the signs before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your son is 2, right?
Yeah.
That's how much I know you, Maina.
Wow.
Your son is 2.
I'm like, how did you know?
And I don't expect you to wait for your son to be 6 to start playing video games, to start chatting with strangers online for you to realize, oh, I need to talk to him about gaming. You already give him your phone. You already do it. So at 2 years, you need to be able to have the language, the emotional intelligence, and the urgency to start talking to him about these things. Because he's 2. Does it mean he doesn't have access to gadgets?
He has.
Exactly.
And honestly, let me just cut you short on this, because you've now touched a nerve that I'm worried about. One, my kid is 2, and I came to learn even before he turned 2. I mean, he's actually almost turning 2. One of the, let me call it a lullaby thingy, is the phone. You put something up, and then that's when and sometimes he will want to, will throw tantrums just to get the phone. And you're thinking, okay, there's something wrong with this. I know, but there's something wrong with this being now the solution for you to,
You've
because
pacified him a lot.
At our times, we didn't have these things, That's number 1. And then number 2, I feel like, and forgive me for this, Evelyn, I feel like this is a mountain. And why I'm saying that is because there's already a discussion going on. The Duale bill about trying to regulate all this so that we're not having all this explicit content on the internet and all those things. And there's a whole debate. I've seen a whole professor as well try to tell Duale, what you're doing is just really hitting a wall. I don't know what your sentiments are on that. I know I've thrown 2 things to you about parents being wary, and really what do they do? Because now even parents are buying kids their phones as young as 3 years old and whatever. How do they just navigate this? Because it's crazy.
You see, when you already look at it as a mountain, you're getting defeated before you start climbing, right? But it's good you use the analogy of a mountain.
I like that, yes.
Because even when you start thinking of hiking, you have to prepare yourself.
Okay.
Right? You have to mentally prepare yourself, you have to physically prepare yourself. And the day you're like, you know what, I'm going to brave myself and I'm going to do this. Yeah. That's what the program is all about. Because I don't tell parents it's easy. It's not easy.
Okay.
And for you to get out of the space of being reactive to proactive, it has to be a mental shift.
Yeah.
You have to tell yourself, you know what? I have to stop believing that the things I see on TV only happen to other people's children. Yeah. Because it will happen to your child. It's a matter of when. That's what I tell people. It's a matter of when. As long as your child has access to a gadget, the TV, your house help, your mother, by the way, because that is an ecosystem. Oh, yeah. The teacher in school, doesn't matter. It is a matter of when. It's not a matter of who. And so once you start becoming now proactive, even when you start seeing bills like what Ed and Dwale wants to push, you start supporting, and not supporting by being vocal on social media or whatever, but supporting knowing that it is actually something doable. Because I can start from my home. I keep telling people, when you look at society being bad, just go back at home and look at your own house. Look at your immediate roof and look at how things are working, because you'll be able to have an idea of what you're complaining if it is really happening in your house. So
wow, so it's a matter of when. So everybody who is watching today, you better be ready for this. It's coming, right?
It is.
There's something you touched on before I now jump to the other questions that really hit hard. You know, these people who live a dichotomous life, if I may call it that, where you want your kids to be very upstanding, straightforward, kids of integrity and all, but behind the scenes, you're a different person. That's exactly, you have come across such kind of people. Yes. All right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Every other time. And you know, the thing is, the one thing that I burst parents' bubbles, and especially in my classes.
Yes.
My parental classes are those ones I'll tell you, you will get peace of mind, but I'm not coming here serving cookies and warm milk. I will not serve cookies and warm milk. Okay. I will touch on your nerves, you will cry, so if you need to get a tissue, get a tissue. Okay. If you need to take a break, take a break, because the class is all about you. The one thing I'll tell you, Maina, is you will never teach your child how to be proactive with his phone or his gadget if you're not. Because guess what? He's seeing what you're doing. Yeah. If you ever find your child going to the toilet with their phone, guess where they learned that from? Seeing you.
What they seen me do.
Yes. If you eat constantly, you're eating and this is you. You're always checking. When you hear beep, beep, you want to check. It is all because of you. So you have to look at yourself. So when I'm teaching parents this and I tell them, you can be this parent, like I tell myself this all the time, I want the best for my children and I do everything that I can for them to have a good life. But guess what? They have choice. Absolutely. So they will decide one day that all these things mommy tell me, I don't want to go down that road, I want to try this. And that's their choice. And I have to respect that.
So Eve, let me ask you, Evelyn, so your training is actually not just for kids, there's also a training for parents.
Yes, because as a parent, I do believe, and this is one thing I keep telling them, especially when we're creating rules. You create rules for your child based on your needs. You don't create rules for your child based on their needs. Hardly are we African parents, do we say, let's gather around this table. I want to hear your views. Me, I will say, in my house, this is what is happening because it is my house.
This is my house.
And it's because I said so. We forget in this era, and like how you and I grew up, in this era, and I'll give you a perfect example. If you will not be that parent who's talking to your child about sex, guess where they'll go and learn it from? Google. They'll go to the internet, they will search, and they'll get a plethora of content. It is too much. The downfall for that is the content they're getting, somebody has curated it, right? That person might not share your value systems.
You're right.
Then you've lost. And so for me, when I'm telling parents, look at yourself first, it is because when you want to create a conducive environment for your child, you have to be able to understand how this child is using this gadget. It is certainly not how you use it. There are people who keep telling me, I'm not on TikTok, my child is on TikTok, what do I do? I'm like, go to that child, let them teach you about TikTok, because you don't know about it. And you do not have the time of day to start sitting and learning about it. as a part of a bonding time, sit with your child and ask them, oh, by the way, I saw you're on TikTok, so you just show me what happens, how do you talk, what do you do? It's time for bonding. When that child realizes that you're interested in what they do, and of course I keep telling parents, just, use your inner voice and make sure you're not shouting, and make sure, that there's a way we come with our frustrations. But let your child be the teacher in this particular sense, where you want to understand how they use the internet, how they use these platforms, and whom they're talking to. And in that moment, you can bring in those wisdom words, I hope you don't talk to strangers, or if you do, there's a way you're vetting your friends. The same way you vet your offline friends, how are you vetting online friends? So you're getting to a space where you're not looking at this big thing as this big mountain, but you're coming to the level of the child, trying to understand how they're navigating this space. If they have issues, you want to be the person who tells them, by the way, I might not understand how you do this, but I want you to come and tell me when you're feeling big emotions because the internet is stressing you, or you have small emotions, or you're happy or sad. I will be the person who has your best interest at heart. Wow. So it is part of communication. And for me, this is the part where, because I have a class for EQ, first understanding that you have to have emotional intelligence to grasp your emotion, but you have to know how to harness it.
Okay.
Yes. And when you're harnessing that emotion, learn to communicate. Because sometimes as African parents, when you're telling your child, this is my house, and you will do as I say, it's okay, but you're not with me all the time. So I will do what you say when you're here. Yes.
Resentment there,
yes, I will do what you're saying when I'm here. When I have my gadget behind closed doors, do you know what I'm doing? No.
You don't know.
And you see, what the internet also does for us, even us as adults, is that it gives us this facade where I can be who I want to be because I'm a keyboard warrior. You're not seeing me, so I can tell Maina anything I want to tell Maina online because Maina is not seeing me. I really don't care about your emotions. That's what children are also picking because they're in the same internet you and I use. They actually even follow us online. So you keep telling your child, you can't be a bully online, but you're the one who's on KOT, busy making noise at everybody else. Monkey see, monkey do.
Oh my goodness, there's so many things passing through my head now, and I really want to stick to the script a little bit, but let me just throw this in, because I think first of all it's a caution to first of all anybody watching, even before we get to the kids, that whatever first of all you do on the internet will still find you. I mean, I mean, one of my mentors, dead now, about 5 months, is now being trolled because he had such a legacy on one end, but now digging deeper into his internet life, people are like, goodness, this one was a dichotomy. And so it's important for people to know even those private things that you do, they will come out. So now the second thing is these kids, I know parents, most parents don't have, and sorry, I'm not trying to protect them. They will say they don't have time, because all they did is provide the basic, because now basic needs, they're no longer 5. The 6th one is 5, is it?
Yes.
So they provided the basic needs. This kid needed this, especially now. In fact, internet providing companies have had a boom, especially during COVID, So parents have done the thing they needed to do because schools wanted to communicate to the kids. So we had to even get Wi-Fi here. And now you're telling me I've just brought in trouble to myself, How do you talk to parents who are watching now, especially the business people now, who really need to look for you? How do you tell them? I know I'm not trying to steal some of your coursework out. How do you tell them that it's time to get up and be proactive? What would you tell them?
I'll tell them, if you're tired of having a headache, then you need to look for me. Panadol will not help you. That's one thing. And the other thing is that you need to be awakened to the fact that the world has changed and it's not going to wait for you. So as opposed to you, as I said earlier, putting out fire, it is time to start looking at how to start approaching certain conversations before they happen. Your son will turn 13 within a blink of an eye.
By the way.
And by the time your son is turning 13, he will be so aware that not only in Kenya, but globally, for me to be able to have a social media account, I need to be 13. But he might also be one of those children who know how to lie about their age. So before they're 13, they will get on social media. So are you waiting for them to get on social media so that you start asking yourself, okay, so what is it you're doing? Or do you want to preempt that conversation before it happens, right?
There are so many, by the way,
Yes, there are too many. And imagine, before this year ends, we shall have more. And you can't keep up. I can't keep up. But what I can do is to make sure that, especially things like digital footprint, I'm having those conversations with them now. Because unlike us, they will be judged a lot with the opportunities they get in the future because of their digital footprint. If for me, and I keep telling people who I hire all the time, I really don't need your CV. If you cannot present what I want you to do in person, I can't hire you. But I have to look at your online profiles. For me, that is what will make you come and work for me. Last year, I believe, last year, there's this one video that I kept showing children, and especially teenagers all the time. There was a Harvard group of students who were supposed to enroll this year in Harvard, and 2,000 students got admissions, but there were around, I think, 10 students whose admissions were revoked. Why? They were found in a closed Facebook group, going against the values of the school. And that is just when the admissions are being revoked, it was just because they don't have social media etiquette. You know, talking badly about people of color, talking about people of different genders. And the school was like, you know, you don't share our value systems, unfortunately we can't have you here.
So we won't have you here, wow.
That was one pinch. But if you look at that long term, this child, that name has been shared across very many other universities of the caliber of Harvard. Your future employer will see that. You know what I mean?
They will not try to get you in.
Exactly. You know. So the damage is not now that you missed an opportunity, but it will catch up with you. And you will have to do so much work to try and vindicate yourself that you have changed or you have done this, but the internet will never forget. So these particular people will forever have that brand, right? I want to give a parent, an example of a parent who I saw.
In fact, I want a case study, you know,
case studies. So this mother, she worked for Trump's administration, I think, in the campaign. So she's a public figure. And she went to the daughter's phone, 16 years old, and found porn. So what did she do? She sent herself that pornography. She saw naked photos of her baby and stuff like that. She sent herself that content to her phone. And then allegedly, those were posted through her Twitter handle. So the mother is being investigated for posting nude photos of a minor.
Maybe she innocently was trying to just check what is my kid doing.
Yeah, but invasion of privacy first and foremost. Why didn't you come and tell me that this is something I saw in your phone? Let's have a conversation. You're sending yourself my content. You're invading my privacy. And then accidentally you will say, because that kind of content has found itself on the internet, you accidentally say you are hacked. How do you explain that to your child? How do you explain it to the world? Because you saw it, now the world has seen it. Then now you're under investigation because fortunately or unfortunately, you have posted content of a minor online. So it becomes such an issue. And for me, that is why I'm saying we react. Being proactive is, okay, shock, I need to relax, okay. So how do I approach this conversation? I want to know how this started. How far has it gone? What else has she posted? How can we help her not to do more damage? Those are behind the scene conversations.
I like what you're putting across, because I think gone are the days of just the certificate of good conduct that we normally go and get at the CID headquarters, because now there is another bigger certificate of good conduct, if I may call it that, of the digital footprint that you've put across. And I think it's a caution to everybody who has a young one, or a niece or a nephew, whatever you are, that listen, you want to let them know that they need to be cautious with what they're doing online, because that will never leave and will inform their future, especially in matters, decisions of career, whatever they're getting in. Because as you said, there are people who right now are trying their level best, especially celebrities locally, to try and erase some of the bad things there. You Google their name first, those are the first things that pop up. Pop up, very nasty things. Can I give an example? There's a friend of mine who went to, let me not name the country, went to a certain country, and then somehow, somewhere fell into the bad arms of the law, you know, and was jailed. Anytime we Google his name, the first thing is his crime and all that, and he struggled to even get a job.
That's a brand.
He had to come back.
That's branding. Branding is not always good.
It's not bad, right? And I'll pin you up if I'll get some minutes for a local example. But now, let me get to some of my script, you know. And first of all, even before I get there, I just want to alert our viewers that this is an interesting conversation. Yes, Evelyn is in business, peace of mind for you. Of course, you can share this conversation so that other people can learn, but feel free as well to comment in and to ask whatever questions that you may have as well. Evelyn, before I even get to ask a question, I know one of the key questions is how can we get in touch with you? Would you want to share that?
Yes. Well, I am on all social media platforms except TikTok and Snapchat.
Okay.
Not yet there. But our handles are evenminute.co.ke. Actually, our website has everything from business WhatsApp. You will communicate with us on the website on WhatsApp, on email, on social media. So it's evenminute KE for most of our social media handles. But the website is www.evenminute.co.ke.
Right.
Once you land there, you will choose the platform that you want to communicate with us through. So we are basically online, yes.
But I just remembered something because I follow you and your pages.
Yes.
You do reviews for movies.
Yes, we do. The reason is because this is something we are teaching, especially our students, a lot in class.
Yeah.
As I said, most of the content that is out there, we have a lot of content, but most of the content that is out there is not necessarily child-friendly.
Yeah.
So we want, part of our program is to want children to be independent and responsible for the content that they consume.
Yeah.
So if you're going to play a game, before you download it, before you play it, can I first pre-screen it to see if it aligns with our values, if it has any content that I don't believe in, so that I can make that decision to play it or not.
Okay.
And the reason why we also preview content is because Fridays for most families, it's a chilled out day. Or for instance, now they're getting into the weekend. So if you want to have family movie night, we've already pre-screened for you something. So there's a book you can read, there's movies you can play, there's a game you can play, there's a movie you can watch with your family. So if you're one of those people who feel like, I really don't have time to pre-screen, you can just go to our page on Fridays. You will see something for you, either a series, a short movie, a video, a book. So you'll just pick something for your movie night, sit and read. And of course, what I always insist is to just check, especially for the age limit. So you make sure that the youngest person in the family is being catered for what you're watching, especially if it is a family entertainment kind of thing. Okay. Yes.
One of the places we met with you was at an award ceremony. I was seated at the back, but you were receiving an award because of your good work. Yeah.
Where?
It was at Fairmont, I remember.
Oh!
I remember, yes. I remember you getting a very nice, beautiful words. I want you to talk about some of your partnerships that you have and some of the awards as well that you've received, the ones that you can remember.
Yes, it's good you say the ones I can remember. I know Pan-African Awards has given me 4 awards in 2 years in a row. Entrepreneur of the Year, Female Entrepreneur of the Year, Kenya and East Africa. Okay. And I've been awarded the Woman of Excellence by Women Economic Forum. It's a company based in India. It's a global company. The founder is based in India. Gosh, there are many. But let me talk about my partnerships.
Yes.
So the interesting thing is that in 2018, I landed 2 partnerships in one sitting to work with Kenya Films Classification Board in partnership with Google. So I've been training for them, especially for Kenya Films, training media awareness for families, and Google is also in partnership with them. So we've collaborated in that sense.
That's good.
And then of course now in that year, it was 2019 actually, we launched a digital parenting program. But now how we were supposed to execute it in 2020 was in person, but COVID happened.
COVID came.
But I think the fact that COVID happened, it also gave us an opportunity to see how we can reach more people through the internet. So for me, COVID was really like a marketplace that had been opened for me. So we did the digital parenting with Google the whole of last year online, which meant that we were not just focusing on Kenyan parents. We're basically focusing on most people who are out here, and then also having collaborations with the Google partners in Africa. So we did something very big with Nigeria as well. So that was really interesting. I have collaborated with communications authorities, so I always attend the Safer Internet Days and especially their program on child online protection. I collaborate with the Department of Children's Services, especially also in that sense. What other partnerships? So I said KFCB, CA. I'm also working hash and hash with Facebook, again still with in line with child protection. Yes.
I mean, that's amazing. It simply just says that what you're doing is important for such amazing partnerships. So I want to get to the business side of you now a little bit more, because you've painted the picture and everybody who's watching is saying, it's time we start thinking about this. How is the uptake? Are people beginning to, and I hope they are, especially during this COVID season, are people taking this up and looking at it and saying, So my question then would be, how is the uptake?
It has been okay so far, and I think especially when COVID hit us in April, everybody now realized that Evelyn exists, that Evelyn has a solution for us. I have turned down people, and which will sound weird. I have turned down people who don't have time for the program, because I do not take clients who do not. You have to commit.
Sacrifice, definitely.
And especially if you want your child to come through our program, you also have to take the parents' class. It's a no-brainer. So the uptake has been okay. There are parents who conflict with a lot of, as you said, I don't have time and stuff like that. So I'm like, it's okay. Once you get that time, I will be here. And for them, they come now and say, I found my child watching porn. I'm like, no, I don't think my program will be sufficient for you, because I'm in the business of preventing as opposed to so
like
I will
exactly. I know
so I will send you to someone first to take care of your child in terms of what they have seen and stuff, and then come. But one of the things that I've realized is the only challenge in terms of uptake has been, especially with the school system, during COVID, children had a lot of downtime. So we had a lot of uptake. Then come 2021, where children have had to go back to school, it has slightly gone down. Children from international schools have a bit of time, because for them maybe Fridays are a bit flex. However, we have a lot of sign-ups when children are not in school. So for instance, like now with CBC, class 4s will be home for a very long time. Class 8s will do KCP, then they will be home for a very long time. So I've been telling parents, don't stress your child to come into the program now, because they will have a lot of downtime anyway. Let me be with them when they're at home. They're not stressed about the exams and stuff like that. So yes, we do have a big uptake right now. Kenyans in the diaspora is now a new market for me, interestingly enough, because I have very many leaders who run, communities in the diaspora who are bringing in now children within certain groups and age sets. So for me, that is a new market, and thank God for COVID, because now our classes are all online, so we are able to reach people far and wide. But the only challenge, and I think for the parents who are watching, is I want to urge the men to actually change their minds in terms of being taught how to parent by a woman. I think that is one of the biggest challenges I've faced. Men are not easy to be told by a woman, do this and this and this, or these are the things that you can apply to be a better parent. So they leave their wives to come. And then when their wives come, they come back and tell me, I tried implementing that thing you told us the other day. Hey, I was being looked at. I told my husband, let's try this. And then he was like, what do you want? You know, like if your wife was to come just out of the blue and tell you, mine, I love you. What would be your reaction?
Well,
what did I do?
Where did you just come from?
Exactly. What did I do? What do you want? Are you okay? You know what I mean? You're not taking it, like, I love you. You know what I mean? So men, I don't have many men in my class. And that is something that really troubles me, because if you look at how boy children are reacting, it is a clear reflection of how the men are behaving in society. So
there's a bit of absenteeism, as you're saying, that is a concern.
A bit is an understatement.
Okay, there's absenteeism. So men, so I think we're talking here about intentional parenting, where if you know that you have a son or a daughter, you want to be very intentional, get into it. Whatever programs that are there to ensure that you become a better parent, get into it as well.
Imagine it's just 5 lessons for the parents. Just sit for 2 hours with me, get a headache, and then,
So would you want to divulge a little bit more details in terms of, if I want to enroll, is it going to cost me an arm and a leg, or is it something that is affordable, or is it a discussion on the side?
Affordability is relative, but for parents, for the 5 lessons, it's just 14,000 shillings. Just 14,000 shillings. If you're coming in as a single parent, it's 10,000 shillings. That's it.
I have come across some of the parenting also sort of courses, and that's relatively the amount. So it's actually very fair.
It's fair
for the kind of impact it will have, especially for you and your child.
Oh yes.
Children,
it's a 5-week program of intense headaches. But I think by the time we're getting to lesson 4, which I believe is one of, now we start getting down into people start easing out. They're like, okay, now I'm breathing. Because the first 3 lessons are very, very, very...
which actually was the question I wanted to ask. Would you care to, of course, not divulge everything, tell the people, this is the reason why you should come, and this is some of the things that we'll be able to cover. The first non-technical class that I have for both kids and parents is self-identity.
I love asking parents, who are you? And don't tell me I'm a mom, I'm a dad, you know, because that is something that attributes to who you are. And very many people struggle actually to answer that question. And then I ask them, are you able to tell me what your values are? Because your values are part of your identity. And most people also struggle with that. Then I ask them, so if you cannot tell me what your values are, how do you raise your children? Based on what? Nothing? Or I don't know? Because today you will say, I want to teach you integrity, but you're struggling with integrity, is not your value. So how do you teach what you don't know, or what you don't have, or what you don't believe? So we teach, I really help a parent to look deep and try and come up with that description of who they are and look at their own values. Then I give them an assignment to go and sit with their spouse, whether you're co-parenting under the same roof or not. Let's look at what we are bringing to the table to create family values. So that then these family values is what you're going to use to ground our children. So you have to bring the children to the table and tell them, by the way, we came up with this, what do you think? Not telling them this is what. You know, you're speaking with, not to. And you want them to also contribute.
So I actually like that you're not really replacing their role, but you're really enabling them to play their role better.
Because one of the things actually my son says, especially when he's being pressured by people to play games, is like, that doesn't align with our family values, and that's not who I am. Because he knows who he is. And I keep telling him, not every time something happens to you, you will always remember the family values. You always have to remember who you are, because you're making decisions for you. So once that is done, we create a family mission. And you see, when you're creating a family mission, you're creating it as a family. It is grounded on your values. So your children always know that we are working. It's like a business. The way now we are business people, you have a mission for your business. You have a vision. You have goals. Why don't you have that for your family? What are you working towards? Because I'll ask you today, have you thought, Maina, 5 years from now, where you will be? Have you?
Absolutely. I've sat down and tried to see something out. So
specifically in terms of tech, your child will be 7. Have you mapped that out?
Honestly, no.
My program helps you. My program now helps you with that. It helps you with EQ. It helps you with communication. How can you communicate with an era of people who, you know, Twitter is 240 characters, where we are, but they are communicating with emojis. So that is just what, 1 character? I mean, how are you? Sad? You know, I mean, the communication it has fallen apart. So how, as parents, are we able to effectively communicate with our children, seek understanding, and help them just, you know, be able to navigate through this space? So my program really does, it helps. And then also helping, there's one exercise, and I want you to go and do it, actually. One that every time I ask people in class to do, they start scratching their heads. So I have given them 4 portions to think how you interact with your gadget from the moment you wake up. Right? So you have to think about that. Then, write for me what you do in the morning, mid-morning, afternoon, and evening. And then break it down for me. In the morning, how much time do you spend with yourself, with your child? And if you have multiple children, it has to be each child, with your spouse, and then work. Then you find when people are doing this exercise, work takes a very big chunk. Once you do that, I just tell you, without just changing anything there, what are your biggest time wasters? And don't tell me social media. Be very specific. Tell me it is WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook. You find people have written things. So I ask them, so if family is your priority, just look at what you've written here and tell me where your family lies. Because when you're having breakfast, you have your phone on the table. When your children go to school, you're working. When they come back in the evening, people are either watching TV, you have the remote with you. When the children are talking, you're like, give me a minute, give me a minute, give me a minute. They go to sleep, you forget. So at what point do you spend time with your family? So that exercise, just that exercise, it is such an awakening for many people when they realize what I need you to do is to just be intentional on the timings that you spend with your family. Fine, you have a whole day, and not that whole, like right now we are not having our children. Why can't I put then my work and my social media now? But in the morning and in the evening, because my family is with me, I put away my distractions. I spend time with you.
Very provocative questions that everybody needs to ask themselves. I'm already trying to figure out, I'm saying, hey, I'm a bit guilty on many others.
And then also, one of the other things that I teach in my class, which is very new, and it came out of a need from the children, because the children also, I realized when I'm teaching children, I have children whose parents are not in the same house. And so maybe you're with your mom from Monday to Friday, then you're with your dad for the 2 days. Things like screen time become a big challenge, because when I'm with mommy, we are strict. But when I'm with daddy, it's hush. So what I brought up is also an element of mentorship, and also helping parents realize that if your ultimate goal is to have a child who's wholesome, a child who's responsible, whether we are parenting in the same house or not, we have to have the same agreements on certain things.
That's true.
So, and if you are raising your child as a single mother or a single father, as a woman, if I was a single mother, there's no way I can be a dad to my children, because it's not humanly possible. So how will I make sure, and especially for my daughter and my son, that I can bring in a mentor, somebody who aligns with my values, my visions, and when I'm telling them about certain things, I would want them to plug in and play that role, right? Because it also has a big role in terms of bringing out your children. When they're especially crossing from pre-teenage to teenage, it's a very delicate stage. There are things you will give your child, and then you will realize, without a mentor, there are certain things that will fall into the crack. What I know about men is all theory. So I can't teach my child how to be a man. So I have to bring in somebody to fill in if the father of that child is not in my life. And so I tell parents this, not to feel guilty because I'm a single parent. No, just make sure that your ecosystem is there to support you bring up this child. Because we have seen actually the case study of very many people, especially in the States, who are in prison. It's because they didn't have father figures. Very many.
That's true.
So there's a 50%
there's even
chance.
A whole research done on that.
Exactly. I keep telling people, when you're creating things, create it knowing there's a 50% chance that it will fail. But there's a 50% chance that it will
Are you really preempting what I'm about to ask you now?
Yes,
because
please.
I wanted to ask you, what obstacles have you faced as a woman? The reason why I'm pointing out as a woman is because of this month, definitely. So what are these obstacles that you've faced as a woman in your career, especially in developing this course and seeing it to where it is now?
My business is very unique. There are not very many businesses. I don't think there are very many businesses like mine right now. So the challenges will just be like, creating a curriculum that people understand. For me, one of the biggest challenges, and it's something that I'm doing in school, fortunately, because I'm back to school, I'm doing a professional degree on digital learning, how to make sure that I create a program that is inclusive and it has equality. And equality in the sense that we tend to forget people with special needs. We tend to forget people with learning disabilities. So when I'm creating a program, I'm making sure that there's a translator. So for people who can't maybe speak English as a first language, for instance, I'm making sure that even blind children or autistic children are able to sit through the class and stuff like that. So for me, those are the small challenges. But specifically as a woman, from 2018, I made a conscious decision not to try and look at my challenges based on my gender. I look at them as based on the agenda, not my gender. So I dropped that.
I like that.
But as I was stepping into the industry, stepping into the market, I realized very quickly that if I'm not loud, then I will not be heard. Because the table, unfortunately, does not have enough space for women. That is the truth, right? So even if I'm at the back bench there, I have to be loud. I have to be vocally loud so that people can hear me, even if my seat is not on that table. And when people start hearing me, then they start creating space for me. And I think also the other way I have looked at circumventing this challenge is to create strategic partnerships, not where I'm fighting you, where I'm complementing you. To show you that I'm not saying that being a man is a problem, but if you bring in a woman's perspective, your product could be better or it could have more impact. And for me, those are the kind of things that I've realized I have to do. I have mentors who have also helped me look at it that way, so that I'm not wasting my time conflicting and butting heads with people because I want a space. If the space is there, it is there for me. I don't need to fight for it. But I need to be able to see how to get into that space, and when I'm there, I'm not there because I am a woman. I'm not playing the woman card or stuff like that. I'm just looking at, is my agenda being pushed? Am I able to bring in my voice here? If I'm not, am I able to have a strategic partner who will make sure that my voice is being heard? So I look at it in that sense. So from 2018, I just stopped. I just like, this woman card, unfortunately, it will not take me very far.
So On the spot, one of the questions that Crow says, how are you financing your project?
So I spoke about starting work when I was 19. I got into a circle because I was working in government, and one of the things that is good with government is that you will quickly be pushed into a circle. So I got into a circle which enabled me to get a loan at very low interest rates. However, when I was quitting work, I got benefits, my retirement benefits. That was my working capital.
You retired?
Yes, I retired at 23, turning 24. I retired.
This is on record.
Yes, I retired that young. I'm still hoping to retire now officially when I'm 35, so I have 2 years. But when they were calculating for me my benefits, that's what I used as my seed capital. Fortunately, because I'm in service industry, I don't need massive capital to keep pushing in for Nini. So one of my biggest headaches normally is like my Google space, because I really need space for my classroom. Right now, because I'm working from home, I have to make sure that my business is paying for the internet at home. I'm paying for my Zoom because it has to have multiple classes and stuff like that. So for me, my working capitals right now has really gone down, and especially within the last year. So, and because now we have more clients, I don't now need to have extra money to, keep paying for these things. So, but to begin with, imagine, try a circle. I don't know if that works. I know you had Rina here who would have had better answers for that. But
watch that particular episode.
But try as much as possible to go for avenues that are not very expensive. Be very realistic where you want that money. I think for me that is the most important thing. Usichukue loan kulipa mshahara. That kama hauna pesa mshahara, then I think you better look for the clients who will help you pay.
Actually, the other episode they need to watch as well is also with James Karundu. He's a business mentor.
Yes.
And he said, start with what you have.
Yes. Yes, and be very realistic, by the way.
As you say, absolutely. Very good one there. There's another question you weigh, I think, about cybersecurity, and I actually had even planned to ask you a similar one. Some of the advice you would give everyone who is watching. I know this is a whole conversation, but do you have a sentence or two or some cautionary things for people? Because now, especially everybody's doing business, especially online.
Yes. Well, security starts with you. The same way you're very cautious about your physical security, your online security starts with you. One of the things you have to be very aware is that you have left your biometrics literally almost everywhere, right? Nowadays, it's not about you leaving your ID somewhere at the gate and then somebody knows your ID number or stuff like that. When you're registering for a platform, sometimes you're given the option of register with Google, register with Facebook, or create an account. But the minute you do that, you've left your biometrics there. Most of us don't also realize in terms of security that, you see, and this is something that I want you to just say yes or no. When you're getting into a platform, there's terms and conditions. Do you read?
Most of the time, just tick them. I don't read.
You say accept, because if you don't accept,
they're so many, they're so long, some of them.
But when you don't accept, you can't proceed, right?
You can't proceed,
That is the danger. Because when you're not reading that, then you don't know what you're accepting to. Most people don't. You don't know what you're accepting to. Actually, for adults, that is the case. For children also, because I keep telling them, the minute you decide to lie about your age, and you're 12 or 11 and then you go on Instagram and something happens to you on that platform, the platform holder is very clear that you're not supposed to be on Instagram without being 13 years of age. So you cannot hold them liable for anything that happens to you. So it is your responsibility. But we hardly read these things. Many parents actually don't know because when we were in within the EU countries, WhatsApp is 16. How many children are on WhatsApp? What is our excuse? Goodness. We need to talk to our children. So cybersecurity starts with you. You have to be cautious to just look at what do you want to secure. Is it your data? Is it your money? Is it your digital footprint? You just need to be just aware. And right now, data is gold. So
a lot of people are getting...
Shift to getting to understand first how much information am I putting out there. Case in point, I think, and I will share this, probably a link in the video here after this. There's a musician in the States who was touring and then went and rented an Airbnb. And something very vital that we really don't pay attention to. When we are going live, right?
Yes, we're live,
So think about going live in a mall or somewhere where you really do not want people to know exactly where you are. But when you're going live, there are certain landmarks that are showing. So this particular guy had people who are following him for one reason or the other. And then as he was doing a live video, he accidentally picked his address. Whoa. So that was on IG Live. So they did a party all night. People started leaving the house at 5. Some guys came, they didn't rob, they just came, killed him because that was the agenda. Killed him. They knew exactly where he is. Exactly. Security knows that these people are here to hanye because, see, there's a bash or something, a bash, you know. Came, did their thing, left. He actually exposed himself because of IG Live. And another thing that I also keep telling people, especially like when you're taking photos and stuff, you probably do not want to show people where you are, or it's not really necessary sometimes. When you're checking into a mall and you're posting something, I'm at.
Shows the place.
The map. Yeah. And then, so for me, like especially when I'm guiding children, I tell them it's okay for you to take 1 million photos, post them when you're not in that particular space, especially later if you don't have adult supervision. Post them once you've left this place. This is where I was, this is what I was doing. You're not at that particular place. Parents who are very happy their kids have gone to school and they're taking photos, and then you take a photo of your child with a uniform, and then guess what is being seen? The school logo.
Absolutely.
That's a security risk. It is a security risk. Just think about the very many times you're using courier services to bring things to your house. That is data you've given out. Domino's knows where you live. Sijui Glovo, Sandy. Do you ask them what they do with your data? Today, if you were to decide to unsubscribe from Glovo, do you ask them what they do with your data? Do you?
And you left it with them?
Yeah.
By the way, do you have the power to tell them delete my data?
You have to. But when you are accepting to install their app,
and all,
you said accept.
You agree to the terms.
You said accept. What were you accepting?
You know, sorry, I just had this, I just read it somewhere else, that some of these companies, I don't want to mention who, are actually here not for the business, it's for the data, because data is big business.
It is the big business. Everybody is out there for data. It just depends on what they're looking for. And they will get it. Believe me, they will get it. They will get it. So I think for you, it is the why. So when you're talking about security, just answer the why. Why should I be cautious? Why do I need this? Yeah.
Goodness, guess what? It's
But for parents as well, I think one of the other ways, maybe, I don't think it's an ultimate solution, but you can have these softwares that you install so that at least you're being intentional on blocking some of the things. Like for my phone, for instance, I have Bitdefender, which even if you were to send me a pornographic link right now, it will not open. It will just tell me parental control. And then I have pushed it to all the devices in my house so that at least I know if my children are to get anything, a video, for instance, it will just buff. It's like there's no internet, but that content is not streaming. But the good thing is it will alert me as a parent that, you know, your child from an iPad or a computer, this and this and this, it shows me every detail of that particular computer at a specific time, got content from this link. But then it was not. So when I'm having a conversation, you know, I have information, I'll be like, oh, by the way, I realized there's this friend of yours who, and I have evidence. So it can be as a way of just having conversations from a difficult place, but just knowing that there are certain things my children are either intentionally going there to seek or people are sending them. So you can have protective softwares, but that is not an ultimate security. Conversations, values. I
also feel like we'll have a private conversation after this as well, because I need to protect myself big time and protect my family.
And since you're my first, this is my first public interview, so I will actually give you protection.
Yes. I gotta give thanks a lot, Evelyn. Thanks a lot, Evelyn. I want to end by this. There were many other questions that I didn't ask you because, you know, sometimes the conversation just goes by. What keeps you going? And you'll answer that with a part in short to, especially because of this month, any lady who is saying, wow, I admire what she has done, the journey she has taken. What would be your parting shot in a way of encouraging them that whatever they want to do or they're doing, let them keep it on?
What keeps me going?
Yes.
The impact that I see children making in their families, that's what keeps me going. Because when I get a phone call from a parent who tells me, my child has this particular child called Malika, and the mom is a very good friend of mine. And when this child goes to anybody's house, and especially when they'll be like, Uncle, Miss Evelyn said that we cannot have phones when we are eating. We need to talk to each other and build relationships. Wow. That's a 7-year-old. Wow. And a 7-year-old is able to put adults on the spot and make them be intentional at that moment, be present at that moment. And also just making sure that they're the ones who are keeping the parents on check in terms of we have created these rules. So just because you're the parent, you don't have the what can I say, the urge or the responsibility to just break the rules you've made. So these children, and especially when they keep putting their parents on, like you're the adult, you're supposed to mirror. You're supposed to be my example. So that for me, it keeps me moving, because then I know that there's impact and change coming from a different generation, and they're actually forcing us to change. Because I mean, you and I know how we misbehave. We keep saying we are people of integrity, and then you look at yourself and you're like, ay, apana. So for me, that is what keeps me going. I just love to see how children are able to be deliberate. With their blank canvases, they're able to write their own stories without our perceived experiences and our judgments and stuff. It's their canvas. And we have this, there's this thing that I keep telling them. When you ask your parent why, mommy, you said something, why? And then there's that thing I keep telling them, exhaust the why until you understand. And then the parent will be like, I said so. Miss Evelyn said that is not an answer. And because they hear Miss Evelyn said, they will answer the children. So for me, I think that's what keeps me going. Just basically that. And to also see families that have been transformed, because I actually have seen families that have been transformed. I have seen people who in restaurants, I have trained them, or I have trained their children. And when they're in restaurants, specifically, they don't have their phones on the table. They're having conversations. So this is just from, you know, it's a journey. And when I'm seeing such kind of things, that keeps me going. And at least it validates that I'm doing something meaningful.
And you are.
Thank you. For the person who is watching, wow. The one thing that when I sit down, and especially maybe for the last few months watching news, we have a lot of young entrepreneurs who are falling prey to what I would call selfishness and greed. That somebody came and told you there's a tender somewhere, go get it, and you don't think twice, or you don't think about the long-term repercussions. And the people who are giving you these things, they're protected, or they will not be part of this. You know what I mean? When you're creating a business, integrity is painful. Integrity is a very painful thing. You will struggle, you will suffer. If I was to tell you that I think 2 years into my business, I had to take a lawyer to court. A lawyer to court. And that lawyer had hired Ahmed Nasir as his representation.
Oh, that's a big shot.
It is painful. And it is painful because sometimes people will see you, especially as a woman, and just think, I will give you this job, but... And when you decide not to go down with the bat, you suffer. You will either lose the job or you will be forced to compromise yourself. So if you choose not to compromise yourself, just be ready to suffer the consequences of either losing a job or being frustrated in a certain position. So for me, it will just be, have it very clear that this is my path and I'm going to go with this path. Choose integrity. It is like growing a kienyeji chicken. They don't, you know, it stays. Imekimbia, but when you're eating it, you're having fun. But your kuku, haikukaa 2 days ama 1 week. Haikuwekwa antibiotics. So it is painful. But it's at the end of the day, it is a worthwhile journey. Entrepreneurship is not easy. But the other thing that I will also say is, if you're a woman out there and you're making it, celebrate yourself. Like this week, I've been swimming and eating bad chips. As you know, those bad chips that just have oil. I'm celebrating myself for just, you know, having my children go back to school and having me time. So please enjoy your wins, learn from your mistakes, even when things go down. The one thing I tell people, even though your business hits rock bottom, did you grow? Did you learn? That's fine.
Irene Nyaga says the great program, eye-opening. How can I reach out to you? I think you'll end by saying how people can reach out to you one more time.
Write me an email on kasina@eveminute.co.ke. I will respond. If you send me an email. If you write me a WhatsApp or a message, I probably will see it very late. Just do an email, and you can write that email, kasina@eveminute.co.ke. I'll get that, and
actually we'll get back as well. Even on the comments as well, we'll get back to you as well, and just indeed reply. Goodness, this is amazing. This is good. This is such a good start for the month. Evelyn, you're an amazing woman.
Thank
and
you.
You're doing great things.
And thank you for celebrating women, by the way.
We have to. We are all products of.
Right. Thank you for celebrating women.
Appreciate.
Happy
Okay.
Women's Day to your wife.
Yes.
And happy birthday to her, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's how, you see, stalkers. And happy Women's Day to all women who are doing amazing stuff.
Absolutely.
And, like,
and even the crew, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
In fact, if you were to know,
yes,
we are more women on this crew than men. Just 2 men.
Yes.
All women. So that's a good thing, Maina.
This company knows that women can do it as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Good for you.
Hey, today I feel like I'm the one being interviewed now. Many thanks for really watching, and of course your feedback as well, and the fact that I believe that you've learned a thing or two to take home. Get in touch with Evelyn. Everybody actually needs to be a member, or needs to actually look for Evelyn, because the fact that you have a child, looking forward to get a child, or you have a niece, nephew, you want to protect their future so that they can make good decisions when it comes to matters being safe, especially in this internet era.
And Maina,
yes,
I'm a podcaster now.
You're a podcaster, by the way. People can listen to you.
Yes, I launched a channel called Digital Parenting with Evelyn Kasina.
Oh, okay.
So that's on Google, it's on Spotify.
Okay.
I mean, the places where you love to listen to your podcasts.
Absolutely.
So you definitely should, because we have very interesting guests.
So once I go there, I look for Evelyn, I'll get
Digital Parenting with Evelyn Kasina.
With Evelyn Kasina.
Yeah.
Great. What a way to end it. Thank you so much for your time. And to our business people watching, everybody else, bye-bye for now. Keep working.